Hello everyone, Samson, Love to My Species. How are all of you doing today? I hope amazing. Welcome to another day of our podcast. I think we're on week 5 right now, right?
Damn, really?
I know, we've been doing
it's been going fast,
pretty well.
honestly.
And we also had that bonus podcast on Saturday, so...
And then the new layout.
The new layout that we posted yesterday.
Content everywhere.
So yeah, I'm like, we're starting to become YouTubers now. Not really, because we have no monetization, but that's okay. I'm with the group today, y'all. ThatHippiePanda, MooMoo, and PoisonUniverse. Our special guest from last week, but it's also another guest appearance. And we all have our crystals today. I kind of just passed out crystals that we could have out just to kind of help with our nerves and whatnot.
Yeah, it's better than the pillow that we like.
I know,
the
like
what?
The pillows, like
pillows.
Yeah, you're
oh, like as a security pillow. Heard. Well, we hope you like the new layout.
You forgot to say Chunky. He's down there too.
Chunky is here, and he's actually in his spot that we created for him last night.
So cute.
So
Literally, I was like,
right
Sam,
under
it's
the
too
table.
big, and like Sam was like, oh my god, it's perfect. You just
Literally,
like shoved it in there.
so pretty. He's suspended between the legs of the table, on his little cat scratcher bed. So
honestly, it's
he's living his best life.
Yeah.
Underneath, he has his little basket of toys, so he can dream about them and whatnot. But yeah, welcome back. We hope that you guys enjoy this podcast.
I'm horribly behind.
We have been slacking.
Let's just be
other than PoisonUniverse over here, she been doing it on the real one.
Because last time you said I had to catch up, so I did.
Yes, exactly, and she did.
The only one that actually like went through
literally,
the
and then I
instructions.
fucking got sick, which I mean I'm using that excuse.
I got behind in
She
school,
used that
so I
excuse
just
last week
focused
too,
on
but
school.
MooMoo also used that excuse last week. That's why she wasn't here. Oh, welcome back, by the way, MooMoo.
Yeah, for real.
Dude, I'm actually
you
kinda
skipped us
caught
last week, which is okay.
I'm here
That was
now,
at work with the bonus episode, so
It's funny because it's like
getting my ass
had to catch up on the book, had to catch up on schoolwork, sick. Now I feel sick, or I feel like I'm getting sick. Way behind on the book and way behind on schoolwork. So it's like you guys put all of that energy on me, and I took it all.
I was, but not anymore. I'm pretty much cut. Like
no, I'm saying last week that's what the whole thing was, and now this week it's like we need to hurry up with this podcast. Like, I gotta cram that homework right now.
Real.
Like after Thursday, I can actually like take time to read the book because now it's like we don't have class till
Totally. And spoiler alert, we're actually gonna do a bye-week next week on the book, because we have. I guess personally have a special guest coming on the podcast, which will be a surprise for everyone. But I haven't yet. Actually, that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. Another reason why we're doing a bye week is because it'll be a different layout next week. ThatHippiePanda and I are going to be in Vegas celebrating. I know it's going to be her first time. Trust.
Well, I mean,
I got the good stops, y'all. But
literally,
if there are any good suggestions to the 30 people who subscribed to me, which I'm surprised I got to 30. Did you guys see that?
I thought you were at 33.
I'm past 30. That's what I'm saying.
He's like 36.
I'm almost 40, y'all.
Because the last time I looked, you were 33.
Shocked.
Thanks to those 3 people.
Thank you, exactly.
And everyone who's been subscribed, love you.
For real, y'all, real one. But if any of you guys have suggestions on where to go, we'll be there for a good 5-6 days. So let us know.
Or if you're cute and want to meet up, I'm down. Like,
we thirsty beaches. Also, remember that we're demonetized here, so like. Think of events and things that we can go to that are free in Vegas, because we on a budget when we go.
we still on a budget
unless we make
here.
some money while we're gambling, then maybe I'll do those concerts. Wouldn't that be so great to go to a concert? Just like drop a few $100.
Girl, literally,
I won $10,000.
I went to that fucking like metal concert and I was like, oh my god, like it's been
which
so
one?
long.
Oh yeah, I was
one?
Literally telling ThatHippiePanda that the other day. It was like. Oh, last night I told you that when we go, we need to go to a club. Because, like, I haven't had club interaction since
I literally
2019.
I've only been to Club Q and Cowboys, or not Cowboys, fucking Copperhead once.
In Colorado Springs. They're literally a block from each other.
We were with Chelsea for like 2 minutes, and we were like, all right, we gotta go. Like,
Club Q is fun. She's been to Club Q a couple times because we also went there on Christmas to just eat though. There wasn't really anyone there. It was slapping there. I'm telling you. And the fact that they were open on Christmas Day, crazy.
Honestly.
We live.
Which I think is really awesome because like sometimes people aren't like close with family, so they just spend Christmas like in the house not doing shit, like.
Totally, or we went out and got loose, even though, like I said, there is maybe 3 other people there, including our party. So
yeah, and like the dance floor is closed because COVID.
Yeah, very much so. But to circle back, so we will have a whole week and plus to read up to where we're currently at, which last week we finished. It was chapter 6, right? Is what we are going on right now. We just finished it, right? Or what chapter? To? PoisonUniverse.
Yeah, literally.
Like, just what chapter are you on right now? So I was thinking maybe we could do 7 and 8 for next week, but then it'll actually be the week after that. Doing 2 this time so that we can all kind of catch up.
I mean, don't stop yourself if you want to keep reading.
Totally, yeah.
Literally.
I mean, even just in this chapter, which I think currently I think I'm only on chapter 4. It's chapter 4.
Chapter 3.
It's a few pages. Chapter 4. It's a pretty lengthy one, but there's a lot about it. The chapter is called "Role Playing: The Many Faces of the Ego." Very interesting. That I want to talk about today, just briefly, because we have other things we want to do today in the podcast. But
God, and then I won't be at work for that week, so I can just like read and like not be distracted.
She says that, but like trust.
I was gonna say, hello.
I was like,
we're in Vegas. Well, the 3 of us have gone. She has not gone, so she doesn't know.
Exactly. And I'm not gonna like gamble a whole lot because like
there's more to do than gamble.
No tea, but I mean like bitches. I need to gamble.
Just like walking around.
We're hoping that she get that credit card because then she can go have fun and do things. Literally. Her credit card coming. She literally just signed up for a credit card. We've been waiting for.
I signed up for a credit card
6
a month ago.
Literally yesterday, she got her credit card bank statement, but no card yet, and it's saying you have a 0 balance. Hey, this is your available balance of credit you can use.
Well,
but she hasn't. Thank you. So she called them last night, and they were like, "Oh, well, we'll send it express. It should be there by Thursday or Friday." So we're like.
But my thing is that I didn't know that like UPS fucking goes through Amazon Hub because Jeff Bezos owns everything. So like I was thinking that like it was just gonna come in the mail. I didn't know it was gonna be in the hub. Like,
damn. I didn't think it would be either. But like, did they even tell you it was gonna be in the hub?
No. I mean, unless they sent an email and it just got buried and we just didn't see the email.
Yeah.
Because I think after 4 or 5 days they take it out and they'll send it back or something. So. And then we also, the other day, received a mass email, I don't know if you also received it, that the hub was, like, overpacked, so people need to come get their stuff.
Yeah, I saw that.
Going back to the book, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about. Do you have your book? You can bring it.
I do.
Is it over here in this vicinity? Oh, it's in your book book.
Should be, like, right there in the big pocket.
In the big pocket. I think you're a crazy cookie.
Or no.
In the big
pocket.
Little pocket. I was about to say, it looks like it. Look, your backpack smells so good.
So cute.
It smells like essential oils. It does. I love, honestly. You have your book, PoisonUniverse?
Yeah, it's right there.
Coolio.
I mean, she does. Like,
obviously, yeah.
She's the only one that's been doing the fucking.
Yeah, I've been doing my homework. I got yelled at by the teacher.
Exactly. And now the student can yell at the teacher.
Wait, what?
The student becomes the teacher now.
We're reading up to chapter 8, right? Because we just finished chapter 6, so you're on chapter 7 right now. So if we do 7 and 8, that'll be 2 chapters.
So 7 and 8, we're reading?
Yeah, so like coming up, not this upcoming Tuesday, but a week from that, you should be starting chapter 9. So that gives you a good, literally 14 days to catch up. And on top of that, will be on a couple days out from school, so we can do that.
True.
And like I said, it's a very easy read. If any of you guys want to also get this book, like we've talked about in other podcasts, this is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Honestly, it's a great read. It's also an Oprah book. Actually,
there's 10 chapters.
Is it really only 10 chapters?
Yeah.
Oh, so we're almost done, y'all.
Yeah, for real.
Well, I mean, Poison Universe is almost done.
I was gonna say, I actually had this much to read.
Literally. Oh wait, really? Is that all the way to chapter 9?
Some of the chapters are pretty long.
Yeah.
Like and the other thing is they make you think.
A lot. So actually, maybe we should just do one chapter on chapter 7. And so by the week after next, we'll be on chapter 8, and then we'll just do 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so let's put that one back a little bit.
Wait, so what are we going to again?
Chapter 8. We're gonna finish to chapter 8, cool. Which is finding your true, finding who you truly are. I think is chapter 8, right? No, chapter 8 is
discovery.
Yeah. Oh my God, we're actually getting down to the nitty grit. So yeah, I have definitely a lot to read. I'll probably get it done though. The nice thing is I've cheated because I've already read this book, so.
Though.
Which is, it's great. Honestly, the more I read it, the more information and knowledge comes from it, which is amazing. Not many books out there that you can reread and pick up more things.
That's a nice thing though.
Totally, I agree. Let's start with you, Poison Universe, because I feel like I've been talking way too much, and I need to get away from this mic. I know I'm putting you on the spot right now,
I know.
But
you should be used to it by now. You know,
for real, honestly,
we ain't here to impress no one. Really,
totally spoke to you or came out to you in the book. You could read sections of it if you want, but you did, Mark.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, because
now
about that too.
You're able to, and then we could just follow along, or we could popcorn read, whatever you guys want to do. But yeah, you can definitely go first.
What page?
Whatever page.
I have to look through it. Does anyone else have a page?
Okay, so I do, but I don't want to go yet because I feel like so last week there was something that I wanted to tell MooMoo. It was in like chapter 2 or 3. Maybe I'll go to that real quick while you're looking for something, because this is like 2 weeks ago for us.
Like, can I do anyone or?
Shoot, girl, at this
like
point, do whatever you want.
Anywhere that you read.
Oh.
That if you marked and you want to just like read, honestly, not even something that you want to explain, just read and just say like, that was real interesting to me. There is something that I'm going to be asking you later on, just an FYI, because you're the only one that's a parent out of the 4 of us. So that would be interesting to kind of get that insight of a parent. Once again, no pressure. Under pressure. So totally, it was, I believe it was chapter 2, Ego, the Current State.
God, Chucky's so fucking cute. This is the last one. Cannot.
He is so fucking cute.
He's like, get away from me, bitch. I'm turning the other way, away from you.
I don't know where the heck it is, MooMoo. This really is upsetting to me.
Oh, I think I found it.
Okay, yeah, let's go with you then.
Okay.
What page?
164. I'm not going to read it because it's long.
Whoa.
If somebody else wants to read it. I mean, it's long. But I can tell you kind of what it's about, though.
Where is it?
164. Yeah.
Breaking free.
Is it presents?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the whole clip or like?
It's kind of the whole clip, just because like it's basically about this woman who was abused by a father when she was a child, and she still held a lot of the pain and resentment and stuff. And it was just interesting how he asked her questions, and
he being Eckhart.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, that's what I love
he
about
tells
this
stories
book.
about.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I've noticed like patience.
It's like super relatable. Like it's like real world like experience.
You know, and it was just like in a way, I guess I relate to that because I was abused as a child by my father, and you know, in a way, I do hold a lot of that still because it's hard to let go of it.
Yeah.
But like, just reading it, it was just like, oh.
Like you're not alone.
In a sense, like
you know.
that's true. You know.
What was the outcome to it? Because what questions was he asking her?
I love it when he asks them questions because then it just like gives them like,
and then it makes you
and they're like,
think,
you know
too.
what, like why have I been holding on to this resentment or like.
There's like several
to these like unrealistic
several stories
standards.
he did in here that I read that I was just like, because I put stars by them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I'm just like that. I mean, those questions, yeah, like.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. She looked impatient, as if she was able to as if she was about to get up and said angrily, "No, I don't want to accept this. Who is speaking?" I asked her. "You or the unhappiness in you? Can you see?" Oh, by the way, this is 165.
Yeah.
"Can you see that your unhappiness about being unhappy is just another layer of unhappiness?" She became quiet again. Sorry, I just had a glitch. In my own personal being. "I am not asking you to do anything. All I'm asking is that you find out whether it is possible for you to allow those feelings to be there. In other words, and this may sound strange, if you don't mind being unhappy, what happens to the unhappiness? Don't you want to find out?" And then
I would assume it would just like simmer there and just like
she replies, stagnant. "This is weird. I'm still unhappy, but now there is a space around it. It seems to matter less." So that makes me think that like perspective is a big thing. That obviously this horrible thing happened to you and also to this lady years ago when you were a child, but like understanding that there is that unhappiness or the unforgiveness or whatever negativity that's there, but then also realizing that your life needs to move on, and that even though there's going to be that part right there that is always going to fester because maybe it wasn't solved, maybe you haven't talked to your father, or maybe she hasn't talked to her father, maybe he has already passed and there's like that unfinished business, still knowing that there's stuff around this unhappiness you could like still like live and like, you know, have a child and like, you know, be with someone who you love and, you know, have a fun or enjoying life, still knowing that that pain is there and that it probably will never unfester, but still that you could still move on and live type of thing.
Make your own like new focus on life instead of having that be like the catalyst to like your whole being.
When I was in high school, when I was in high school, I'd like that's all I used to think about because we had just moved to Illinois, and you know, being in a new place. Being from Alaska,
being a teenager, God, I would never go back. Like, I never want to go back.
Like, I'd go back to enjoy like time out of school, where you hung out with your friends.
Totally.
But like school,
like not having to like pay bills and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
totally.
You know, just stay there.
Yeah, totally. For me, the other perspective that I've really like learned over the years is like. That stuff, like, doesn't have to happen to you. It doesn't have to be the center point of your life. You can, like, think about it as in, like, oh, it happened, like, for you for not so much for you to, like, not to, degrade your feelings or anything, but more, like, thinking about it as in, like, it happened for you to, like, help you learn a lesson, or maybe because, like, in a past life, like, you went through a similar thing and never got over it and was still unhappy, like, after you died, so, like, you're seeing those things again
some people
in this perspective, and you're like, okay, what can I do about it, you know, like, or how can it help me help other people, or like help myself, like to learn from those experiences.
Because you, all three of you actually, have had like familiar past in that sense, like that connect somewhat with this lady in a sense. It might have not been your father, but it would have been something or someone who physically, mentally, sexually,
I mean, I guess you have
abused.
too. Like,
yeah,
like not in like the similar way, but like still like feeling like you're unworthy or you're not good enough just the way you are, you know, type of deal.
Right,
like,
and I can connect
like
with her in that way. I can't connect with her in the way that she has that relationship with her father, in the sense that he did this to her. But I was very verbally abused growing up from my father because he wanted me to be a certain way, and it never was going to be like that. So I revolted, or I tried to follow about the same. And honestly, that it's crazy because that's a segue into what I wanted to talk about. Didn't you guys want to add anything to this part?
No.
Literally,
I feel like it was more of a listening thing for me because I didn't read it and I like the perspective. And I feel like I'm getting to know Elise more because like we still haven't really connected that well, and now it's like so
I'm hoping though, if you're here, like when I come to feed him or whatever, like we can just sit and talk and stuff.
That's what I told Sam. I was like, this is Elise's, and I have a chance to connect.
No,
so
literally
it's like,
it is, because like that's what literally, if Sam's at work and I'm like off that day or something, Nikki and I'll just like talk about like shit, like that's happening. Like,
and I just think it would
4 hours went by.
Literally, and I'm like, oh shit, Sam's
flying glass door open.
Like, oh hey Sam,
and Chuck's like, and Chuck and Joel are right next to each other, like,
like they're bonding. They're bonding.
Right? Yeah, they're bonding, and
they're bonding in their dreams.
They're bonding in astral plane.
Literally. There was a place that I wanted to talk about
what page?
With Nikki, but I can't find that. So I'm going to talk about the other thing that I was reading, and it was in chapter 4. I believe it was in chapter 4, right? Because we did chapter 4 through 6, right?
Supposed to, yeah.
Yeah, so
like,
I know, literally. I'm just like here again. I did this to myself.
I don't remember.
It's a good thing I did, though, because, you know, in a way I'm like, yes, chapter 4 through 6.
At least someone's on track, but
honestly, I cannot find it, which is driving me insane, because I even, like, wrote it. I know it's on this page, no less.
What page?
Like, I know, literally it's right there. I had it open the whole time. So it's going to be page 103.
Oh my gosh, how crazy is that? I'm already on it.
Now, this is where I want to also talk to you, PoisonUniverse, because this is about conscious parenting. Now, backstory of chapter 4, so far that I've been reading, so that you guys can get caught up, is role-playing and like the many faces of the ego. I know I just read the chapter, but literally that's exactly what this chapter is. He is talking about examples of how you here. How you were putting up an ego in a sense when you are in public or when you're around other people.
Oh yeah, totally.
He also gives the example of like when you are at a store and you have like that kind of like relationship with like the cashier or the bagger or whoever, where you kind of remain like that professionalism in a sense, because it's like a checker or a bagger, but then how paid to be there, you have a completely different demeanor when like you're talking to like management. If like something is wrong and you want to like converse with them, you're more like direct and like saying like this is what has happened to me type of thing. So he is going through different types of egos that we have all like interchanged within our life, and then how we look past those egos by just realizing, because he talks about it multiple times throughout the book, where the ego within yourself is you. Like, it's not something that is necessarily a negative thing. It's just something where if we run with it, or if we let it run for us, then it could turn into a negative thing, because it's becoming very possessive in the I, me, my drama, in a sense.
Yeah.
It's this part,
experience.
Totally. This part is where they talk about, and honestly, there's another part I want to talk about that's a little bit prior to it, and it's unconscious suffering. I think I'll leave that for later on, but you guys should definitely dog flap that page, because I want you guys to really look at that. That's a really interesting thing that he talks about, and how suffering is so positive in our life, but yet we are trying to constantly run from the suffering.
You don't learn anything when you're comfortable.
Totally, but yet we try to even create that within our own offspring, our own kids, that we want to make sure that they're as comfortable as possible, when in reality they need the suffering in order for them to grow and evolve, type of thing. 103, I'm pretty sure this is what I was talking about.
I finally love that we have like someone who's like actually a parent and like can like
actually
like,
and that's why I said
just, like,
PoisonUniverse is coming towards you, girl.
I know, it's like all on me today.
Literally.
We were parents for like what, a month?
True. She was a kangaroo parent. It was in her.
Maybe. Sorry. Anyway,
True.
Continue.
Goodbye, string bean.
Her body. Oh my god. Her fucking decision. So.
Thank you. Exactly. Pro-choice.
Trust. I paid the money. Shit.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, the other party did not. But
hey, he's compensating somewhat.
$50.
I'm like that, and also by not harassing her every day, which is nice.
Oh, true. With a hey, hi, hey,
yeah.
Hey, hi, hey, what are you doing? WYD. Hey, pigs. Hey,
pigs.
Pick me up. It's like,
okay.
whoa,
We have
calm
Leonie
down.
in our lives now. We moved
and
on.
we love
Cricket
Leonie.
misses you. Has he used it? Okay, never mind. Sorry. This is not a conversation we should be going into right now.
That's why I
or ever.
MooMoo has been there. That's why.
T the OT, literally.
Honestly, I'm gonna light a cigarette because I feel like
I was waiting for the
approval. I was gonna ask, can I have
conscious
I was like, why don't you give her ashtray?
Is the actually I can give you this one over here.
I was gonna say, well, yeah, where are the ashtrays?
I just have them down. Like I have one over here and I have one right here by Bree and I.
Oh yeah, it's for the sound.
ThatHippiePanda.
Right.
I'm gonna take two, so I don't have to ask you.
And I'm trying not to like have it all, like I said, on the table, because also the glass.
It's like
a lot more sound. Now, if I want to do some ASMR, it's like.
Oh my god, I can't.
Oh yeah.
Damn, do you need some fucking socks?
This isn't an ASMR video.
It's chilly. I need socks.
It is cold.
Should we pause it then for you?
No, literally, I have them in my room, like on the floor.
Sam, should we pause it then for you?
I cannot with her. Literally, she's done all day that we're doing this podcast, and yet.
Not prepared.
She going with it.
I know,
literally, she was supposed to get up this morning. But no, she didn't get up this morning. I tried to wake her up. Trust, I even sat on her this morning. No, she was a rock today.
Bitch, I was dead. Like,
did you say? Did you really?
Yeah, literally.
She didn't. She was not awake. Like, I was like, I took her hand and I was like flailing her hands around. And like literally nothing, and I'm just like, fuck this
just
bitch.
dead to the world.
He's like, what are you doing here? Get
no wonder when I got in
literally,
he was like, because I was about to be like, where's Bree? And I thought she was coming, and then he was like, Bree's not here, I'm sleeping.
Totally, like, I could feel the hostility. Like when I fucking first woke up, I was like, oh shit, here we go. I hear them all out there, like fuck, here we go.
I almost was about to hit record with her sleeping. I ain't gonna lie, but MooMoo was late today, so.
I was 30 minutes.
I'm so
fashionably late.
Can I have a lighter?
Fashion.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
And I
honestly, I have one over here that I'll give you. I just want everyone to get comfy because this isn't a very heavy topic that I want to talk about, but it's something that I think that is the core reason why I don't want kids.
Bring that organite closer to me.
Shoot, give me other reasons, cause like they there.
So, I'm just going to read a very, very brief highlight of it. I don't want to read it word for word. But it starts, once again, 103. Many children harbor hidden anger and resentment toward their parents, and often the cause is inauthenticity in the relationship. I want that to sink in. That the reason why children are harboring this is because the relationship between the parent and the child is usually not real. It's always fixated on something, which goes back to the ego. The child has a deep longing for the parent to be there as a human being, not as a role, no matter how conscientiously that role is being played. You may be doing all the right things and the best you can for your child, but even doing the best you can is not enough. In fact, doing is never enough if you neglect being. To me personally, that speaks volumes, because personally, I don't want kids for the simple fact that I know that I was placed with control dramas in my life when I was growing up on how I need to think, how I need to act, how I need to feel. And I know that even though now I have branched very, very far away from what I was raised and brought up to think, still there are some recessive control dramas that I don't want to push onto my child.
Yeah, it's basically like conditioned into you.
Totally, and I can't get rid of it, even though I think about it every now and then, and I tell myself to open up and broaden my mind even more. Still, in the heat of the moment, I feel like my mind could become very narrowed, and I don't want to put that on to someone else, because it goes on to say that I wish that I had it, but I even wrote that I wanted to talk to you about this. And I just don't know where it is, which is really upsetting to me.
Honestly, I can heavily relate just with the, like, trying your hardest, but if you're not there, like, being, like, just whatever being is, it's almost like if you are, like, pretty well off or pretty wealthy and, like, you give your kid the best education, or like give them all the toys that they want, or like feed them as healthily as you can.
And it's
if you're still not there for them, you know, like
totally. And I think it's because parents, when they were young, that's what their parents did. So like the blame is not cast on the parent, it's just cast on this generational thought process where my parents gave me gifts and toys and whatever I needed and a great education and everything that they felt like they might have not received and they wanted to give to their kids. But in reality, some children, if not most children, don't want that. They want the connection with the parent, and it's so hard to get that connection. Totally.
All the material things.
Totally. I
lit because he's getting paid a lot more now. They gave him another raise.
I just got a raise too, bitch.
Oh, what he was talking about the other day, right?
Yeah.
Damn,
and
that's good.
Now, like, since they can't find other people to also help do his job, he gets overtime, so he's just, like, bringing in that cash.
Shoot.
And we have boxes
mystery man.
for, like, we have an apartment box, bill box, dog box, and then miscellaneous. Yeah, for the dogs.
Yes, of course.
For the other
babies. Like, I have the same
thing.
thing.
Other babies. And, like, at this moment, we're working on an apartment, a townhouse, just something, so we can move out and be able to do our own thing. Like,
totally.
Yeah, because my
I'm 28, I have a child. I need to leave.
My mom also had the same situation. Like my mom and my grandma have always been on good terms, pretty much. Well, I mean, not always, but like they've always had like a fairly good relationship. But anytime they like move in together, because like we had to move in with them, with my grandma a few times, just because money was so fucking tight. But like when they just like live together, they all just like. I mean, it's just like being an adult, you know, you have your own set of standards, you have your own mindset at this point, you're pretty much independent, and when you, like, try to bring, like, too many people into one household, like, there's, like, that fight for, like, almost control or, like, personal space, or,
I think that's
what
why my mom and I
like,
butt heads a lot.
Yeah, totally. And it can put a lot of strain on the relationship just because you have no, like, space of your own to like be like, this is mine. I have complete control. I don't have to ask.
Relationship might get a little better.
Yeah, totally. Or it's just even the same with like roommates. Like with my last roommates, like it was just like a fight for control or like having like this sense of like community, you know, like it just like wasn't working out. So I was like, okay, you just gotta separate myself. Everything will be okay. Like, you know, like just having to move on, you know, like
a month later, here she is with
right?
me.
My baby. Oh, he's not good.
But I understand where you're coming from, Sam. It's just like, you know, before I used to see myself as a failure, and it's just like, it's because like the reason why I saw myself as a failure is because I would always compare my successes to other people's. Like, oh, why am I not in the same position as them because they're the same age as me? It's like, well, they have a different path than you, so it's just like,
totally.
Why am I always constantly comparing myself to somebody who has absolutely nothing to do with my life and how my life is going? So it's just like, that's why, like, I don't know, it's just like, it's wasted energy to just tell myself like, you're not where you should be right now. It's just like, I'm not where society wants me to be right now. Like society just like embeds in your mind that you have to be successful. And also too, like the media is just like, you have to, you know, you're young and beautiful and young and young, like everything young, and once you get old, you're wasted, your life, you gotta retire and everything. And it's just like, no, that's not what life is meant to be. And that's also one thing I don't want to embed into my kids' mind, is that they have to like immediately go into college right when they turn 18. It's like, no, like if you go when you're 22 or 23, like you can go based on your funds and not
or like that one guy I read about who went to college
basically go for
70.
free.
That's what I'm saying.
Like he was like, I'm gonna die one day and I want to get my college degree.
I had a substitute teacher in high school and actually also in middle school in Colorado, and she was on her 3rd or 4th master degree. She was in her late 30s and she was just living her life. She had 3 cats. She potty trained her cats to use the toilet. Like, she was happy. She was writing a book, or she already written a book, and she was on her 2nd book that she was writing. And it just, you know, she was doing what made her happy. But to a lot of people, you think, oh, well, why are you still in school? Like, you have already all these master degrees. Like, go and use that master degree. But to her, she truly loved knowledge.
That was her dream. She wanted it.
Exactly. And I had another teacher, and it was weird because they always like fought with each other, because she was great. Like, she taught very, 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 very well when she was a sub for math. Oh my god, the things that you would learn from her. Also with English and with science, she was probably grade A out of all the teachers I had. And she was a sub, like she wasn't even working full time. But I did have another teacher, and he was my English teacher and also my sister's English teacher, and he lived with his parents. He was like 45 years old. Actually, my senior year, his mom passed away, and it was like devastating for him. He missed like half the school year because like he was just very homebodied. And a lot of people, I even remember classmates of mine thinking like, oh, why is he still living with his parents? Like, he has all this money, he's been working all his life, he has a master's degree in English, like he has like rentals and properties that he owns. Like, why doesn't he just like move out and live on his own? But in reality, to him, that's just what he enjoyed. That's where he felt right in his life, being with his parents. And obviously they were older, so he would help them and caregive for them and whatnot. But to him, that's what he enjoyed doing. And yet so many people looked almost down on him because like, you're a full-grown adult and you have all of this like these commodities going for you, and yet you're not using them. You're still just like living with your parents type of thing. But honestly, it's not a bad thing. That's just what you know, your life path you decided to do, or you were drawn to do, or that was the life path that was given to you, and he stepped into that role.
Yeah. Exactly. It's also like
excuse that was my stomach growling, by the way.
It's also like when you see like a whole bunch of like celebrities or like people in the news who are like doing so many great things, like usually you don't usually hear about them like when they're just coming up. You just see the final product. That's why like comparing yourself to all these like celebrities or like people who have so much more than you, like you never see them from like the star where they start off with like nothing, or like, you know, they were just making their up and coming business that only had like 2 buyers, and they were like
Apple
living on food stamps for like exactly.
They started in like a garage or something.
Yeah, that was Amazon.
Yeah,
Amazon.
Or maybe Apple did too, I don't know. But Amazon, it was Jeff Bezos and some other guy, and they like bought out a lot of like products, and they would just literally take their bikes and they would just deliver them after people bought them.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But now you see them in like the limelight. They have like all these things that you could ever want, you know, like, and that's why it's not.
I mean, I think he's like the second
yourself.
richest man in the world. I think him and Bill Gates are like going neck and neck.
Yeah,
and Elon Musk, yeah. Because I know that during the heat of COVID, Jeff Bezos was #1.
Yeah. Definitely.
But then Elon Musk, I think earlier this year or late last year, he launched his SpaceX program, and that bumped him way up.
Yeah, that's right, SpaceX.
Which is just crazy to think about, by the way, like where this world is going.
Wait, before we go to that, I want to bring up my initial point.
Oh yeah, totally.
Bring it around. Bring it around.
That's her saying, shut the fuck up.
Let me finish my point, then we can go on a tangent somewhere else.
Trust.
We love tangents.
I'll light my cigarette and I'll
The fact that I can even remember it is blessing because of our tangents. But like,
totally.
No, what I wanted to say before is that like one pattern that I noticed with people that tell you like, hey, why aren't you married? Why don't you have kids? Those are the ones that like are deflecting the hardest, because they're the ones that like they had like the unplanned pregnancies, and they had marriages that were either failures, or they had marriages that they were forced into and are still in and are unhappy in. And I'm just like, before I would take it to the heart, like, gosh, why are you guys always telling me this and that? Like now, I'm like, if ever someone asks me again, I would just be like, well, it's because I don't want to, and then they'll have to say what they have to say because they want to let out whatever trauma they want to unload that they're feeling because of their own personal situation.
Totally.
And then I'm like, okay, cool.
And you can finally not take that personally as like an attack and be like, oh, why don't I have kids, or why don't I have this relationship that everyone else seems to have?
Exactly. I hate to even call them, but like the backhanded compliments of people like, oh my god, I wish I could have kids, or oh my god, like your genes are so great, like don't you want kids, like everything. But in reality, like they are like what is it, infertile, or like they can't have kids, and so they want to live vicariously through you, and you're just like, no, I understand. Like, thanks, I have great genes, but at the same time, no.
Yeah, do you want to take care of my baby?
Totally.
Like, no.
Or it's like crazy how much money surrogate mothers make. Also, I had a friend in middle school who her mom like literally had 7 surrogate like children, and like she was just popping them out, and like just like it was crazy for real.
I think I would probably be a surrogate if somebody was like, I can't have kids. And,
oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
You know, that I would be like, of course.
If I knew they weren't gonna go like into the system, or like
family
fostered out, or someone who's actually
that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to give Melody up for adoption.
That's the reason why I got
being adopted. I grew up.
Oh my god.
You know, and then it's like these parents, like all they care about really is the amount of money you make. Because I have said to many of people, if I could adopt, I would. Yeah, I don't have a lot of money, but I would give the child love, and I would be able to help them understand.
Why do we not have like tests for people who have kids? There's so many people in the foster system.
They need to have, there needs to be tests for a lot of things.
Yeah, trust.
Like, not just for people who have kids.
Well,
like
some of them were like products of rape and stuff too. So it's just like, you gotta.
Oh no, totally. I understand. You know what's so weird though, and I hate to put this out there because I'm sure that I'm gonna get a lot of hate for it, but I feel a lot of people who
haters gonna hate
are in those situations,
they hate what they don't understand,
being raped or like non-consent and having kids from it, are better mothers. I hate to say it.
No,
but like
really.
I think it's so like negative for a parent to be like, oh, I have all this money. Well, obviously not all, but like, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate from this, but like I have met a lot of moms who are single moms who have been raped, at least 3 or 4 of my friends, and have kids, and they're great parents. But I've also seen the other spectrum of people who come from money or who have built up their life so that they could afford almost anything and have kids and neglect them. I hate to say it.
But it's true.
And I know that it's on both sides. People could be rich and be great parents, and people can be poor and be great parents. But I've just, like, personally what I've seen, people who have had that traumatic experience in their life, especially mothers, they are trying to, like, raise their kids so that their kid can be empowered, so that they won't be in that situation. And someone who has been raised on a silver spoon all their life, going back to the book, they have been protected by their parents for so long that they haven't really fallen to, like, learn. And I hate to even say this, but they put that on their kids, and they give their kids everything, but yet that safety net that's, like, permanently there for their child is, I think, very negative.
I really didn't honestly realize how common it was for people, or for, like, kids to just be so, like, not spoiled, but just, like, again, like, the silver spoon, like, everything given to them, and then at some point in their life they have to realize, or they, like, come to a crossroads where, like, I could still, like, live with my parents, or, like, be in this situation, or, like, actually, like, go out on my own and do my own things. That, and also, like, people who, like, very, like, fucked up families who are like, oh, like the mom's like, oh, I'm not ready to be a parent, so, like, my sister, like, their mom, like, can you, like, be acting mother to them, and, like, never tell them until they're, like, 18, and then, like, the child's really just, like, put through, like, this whole world. It's almost like realizing that Santa Claus isn't real, but, like, to a whole, like, your whole life, you've been lied to.
It's like, see this auntie? Auntie's actually your mom. Like, I'm actually your auntie.
And it's crazy how common it is, and, like, how, like, many stories I've heard from people that, like, this is, like, a thing.
I mean, personally,
it's just a weird coping.
I have a sibling who is like that, where she has a child, her oldest child, actually, and she has chosen to not reveal to her child just yet that
how old is the child?
Her husband is not their dad. I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't remember the age. But I want to say under 10.
Damn.
But older than 8.
Yeah, I understand. That must be, like, a hard thing to, like, try to break to a kid. But, like, honestly, like, the kid...
And, totally.
The kid deserves to know.
I think so, too. Even if their actual father is,
not
a deadbeat or in jail, like, or not great, and there are circumstances, but at the same time, I have always been a firm believer that the truth hurts, but the truth is the truth, and it will take a child way longer to process the truth as they grow older than if they were younger.
I feel.
But also waiting to the age of understanding for them. Like, I wouldn't tell a child that's 3, oh, hey, this is not your dad.
Which is different for every child, so, like,
I agree.
Discretion. Like.
Totally. But, like, seeing that, like, I totally see that situation. And also, I have a friend who, she has 2 siblings. One of is a heavy drug addict. She calls her a state mom or something, where she's, like, literally of the state, like, her kids are all, like, you know, she literally has kids just for the free money, in a sense. And then having another sister who is completely infertile and has actually taken over some of the kids, what is it, like, foster, parental, but in a sense foster them, and, like, so much anger that my friend has towards her sister, who can just pop these kids out but doesn't care about them, cares about her next high, in a sense. And then having another sister who is just so loving towards her nieces and nephews, in a sense, and looks at them as they're her own, in a sense, even though she knows that she could never have that connection because, you know, she just can't have kids. But it's almost heartbreaking, but in the same aspect, I feel that totally there are situations that happen that are out of our control. But in that sense, like, the sister that's just heavy on drugs needs to, like,
you have to take responsibility.
Yeah, totally.
Like, if you're gonna bring the future generations of this world into it, like, you might as well fucking set them up for them to be great or successful or whatever, you know.
I guess, like, my, like, perspective on that is more the fact that, like, if you are given the responsibility to raise a child and bring them up in this world, you have the choice to either bring your traumas that you experience, like, no matter what, like, rape, abuse, like, anything, any sort of trauma that you experience, you have the choice to either bring that and not deal with it and have that just keep traveling and cycling through different generations, future generations, or you have the responsibility of either, like, preventing it and, like, working to make sure that doesn't happen, or the same situation, like,
just have a sense of self-awareness.
Yeah,
like,
so
now,
it's
is
like,
that from, like, training or, like, teaching your kids, and, like, your own past experience and being like, you know, this is what happened to me?
It can be,
and it's most of the time unconscious. Like, you know, they don't realize that they... Because I'm sure that if they, like, actually knew that those were, like, not usual situations or, like, traumas that they actually experienced, that, like, it's not... Like, they've been conditioned to feel that, and they just unconsciously put it on the kids, because that's, of course, the only thing they know how to do, you know?
Yeah, like, putting your hands on your kids per se. Like, it's because you were beaten as a kid, so it's like, that's what you know to be, like, a form of punishment. And it's just like, you knew you hated it and didn't like it growing up,
but it was
you're
effective
still
in
doing
a way,
it.
like, you know.
And so it's like with that, so it's like you have the choice to either not do it and understand that that is not a good thing, or it's just how you perceive it. And so it's just like, you can bring it into the next, you can cycle it through, or you can end the cycle. So it's like,
yeah, definitely,
that's my perspective on it. So.
Very heavy.
For real, yeah, literally, I was like, damn,
we were trying not to go as heavy today, but we went heavy.
Like, every time we say that, it's just like, I don't think we can't, because this book it's awakening to your life purpose. Is. So it's like,
we live in a dualistic world. You can't have the good without the bad. You know?
Yeah.
Totally. And I think that also, the four of us, singularly, have had so much happen to us in our life that it's like we are getting so much out of this book and just out of life that we want to bring it to the table, that, like, this is my experience, this is, like, how I felt. And then also hearing other people's feelings and how they felt, it's like almost mind-opening, because you're like, oh my god, I never had that.
It's very relieving, honestly, because, like, I remember being in high school and being like, I mean, obviously when you're in high school, like, high school is all there is, but, like, just feeling very alone, you know, like, going through my own, like, religious, like, personal journey, and, like, a lot of, like, literally out in Ellicott, like, you're either very religious or you're, like, not religious at all. Like, there's no really, like, in between, so I just felt, like, very alone, like, you know, like, not being able to relate to anyone, like, and also not knowing how to, like, express myself in that way, or, like, anyone, like, how it was feeling, so, like, that didn't help, you know, like.
Exactly.
But now we're here. If you told me 10 years ago I'd be here, I'd be like,
you're a joke.
Like, yeah, you're funny.
Like, that's funny, cute. But I think we're going to end it, honestly. I think that we had a lot that we talked about. I did tell them that I wanted to do, like, a singular subject that we all brought to the table, but I felt like unknowingly we all brought it to the table, our own subject. So I think we covered that aspect. We talked about the book. Once again, we're doing a bye-week next week.
I'm going to hold myself accountable this week.
We have a special guest coming. I'm so excited for this. I can't wait for you guys to see and the insight that we'll have with this person. But we will reconvene, I guess, on the book and about our life journey through the book the week following. But until then, thank y'all for coming. Had so much fun today. Yes. We need to smoke. We need to eat, because, like, fuck, my stomach has been growling since.
I know, I feel like we have a chorus of stomachs.
Literally.
My stomach.
But until then, like, subscribe, dislike. Tell us what you think. We like to hear.
I love that, like, subscribe, dislike, because it's just like we're open to everything.
Literally,
I love channels that are like, or dislike if you don't like it.
And honestly,
it's there for a reason.
We like all comments. Obviously,
please comment.
We haven't really have had many comments. But
I don't want to be the only one commenting anymore.
That's what I want to say real quick before we end it. It's just like it kind of opens your eyes to like how closed off we are to like connection and to each other, to think that like, or to not realize that everyone has had their own like experiences in life and own like things. So it's just like the facade that you see is like, oh, I'm fine, yada yada. Oh, Rick, oh, he's such a great guy, and you just don't know what's behind closed doors. So it's just like this. It's just like we're all like opening our eyes to realize like we are all connected in like more ways than what we perceive. I guess. So,
I also feel that this book is forcing us to take our mask off, because we can't read the book and then talk about it with the mask. It's just a super
or you
hard.
can't really talk about it with like within like just a logical point of view. Like there has to be like some emotional turmoil or like backstory that like connects,
and like
some
to
debauchery.
Resonates with me personally.
So I like I said, I totally recommend this book to all of you guys who are listening, and if not more, spread it around, tell people about it, because honestly this book, even though it's been out since 2001 2002, it's a great book, and I feel like it's widely underappreciated and unknown, and I don't know why or how it's unknown.
Oprah book club.
Literally. Well, I mean, I just feel like Oprah, and I hate to even say this, but like Oprah's been away from like the Oprah show and like live TV for so long.
Oprah's been going through it.
Honestly, I don't know the current events on Oprah, but I just know that like
Let's talk about it after we end it.
Yeah, I know. We love you, Oprah.
Where is Oprah now?
I know. What's her net worth? No, I'm just kidding.
Is she still like she calls?
Totally. So I just feel like even though it might have had like a big following at one point, I feel that even now
don't let it die.
Still speaks volumes to society and how we are, and I feel that if a lot more younger people started to read or pick up this book and just look at it, that our world is just that much closer to ascension and to oneness.
Age of Aquarius, age of consciousness, opening the mind.
Taking one day at a time.
And with that, I just wanted to end with asking, how was the whole crystal thing? Because I think I want to do this from now on. I feel
it
like
honestly helped me open up, and like things that I felt like I wanted to comment on, I did, and I felt good about it.
And I feel like also it helps with like the nerves almost, because it really even though it's just the four of us, and even though like we are recording, it's going out to the public still, with heavy topics. It just is like our little, little medicine pack. Totally.
And the little sense of empathy to where it's just like you still kind of like you know what they can take, but you still don't want to cross that border because it's just like fuck. What if they're not ready today?
Totally.
Exactly.
So.
But with that, thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope to see y'all next week. Bye. I know that it will come up, but in layman's term, he talks about how a lot of parents, because like they're your offspring, they are an extension of you, feel like it's theirs, but in reality the child is not theirs. The child is a whole separate organism. It's a whole separate human being. And yet parents, they feel like, oh, because I was able to give them so much, or that I gave them as much as I could, or that I was able to have a roof over their head and food in their stomach every single day, that in some aspect, like, they owe me in a sense, when in reality,
because
your offspring or your children, they don't owe you. They were not asked to be put into this world. That was your decision as a parent, but it's your responsibility as a parent to make sure that before they're able to go and be independent on their own, that you're giving them what, like the necessity or the means to survive, in a sense, on their own. I kind of wanted to weigh in because obviously you're the only one.
T, honestly. I really love that you have like that other perspective, so we're not just talking out of our asses.
Totally.
Like,
and
our experiences.
Personally, like, that's just my perspective, is that I don't want kids because I don't want to fuck them up, in layman's term. I don't want to be the blame of them, you know, being a serial killer, even though it probably would never happen, or even resenting me because I've seen it in my siblings where one of my parents being way too nice and way too giving, and then trying to pull back on that rein and be more strict because they're trying to like get them ready for the world, and then they resent that because, oh, all my life you were able to give me this and now you're not, type of thing.
Yeah, so it's like they feel like they're betrayed.
Totally. Or even in the opposite spectrum where a parent is being very tough and hard on a child and, you know, making them get those good grades and telling them that they need to go to school or get a higher education so that they could get a job and then they can one day have a family that they can support. But to some kids, that's just too much pressure. Something where they are able to process fully, especially in today's world where they already have so many pressures on them from their peers, from society, from school expectations, from expectations of other people. And yet they, sorry, my cat, think that it's okay that he can go on the table.
It's like, I just want to be a part of the
But in reality, they can't process everything. Totally, right? So I want to know, like, personally with you and with your child, how, because I'm sure you read that, obviously, because, you know, you're 2 chapters ahead of everyone else.
Yes. I just want to start by, like, have you always, like, wanted kids, like, when you were younger? Or, like, was it just, like, a surprise? Like,
to be honest, no. I didn't. Because same thing, the way I was raised, I don't want to raise my child the way my parents raised me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's a common theme. Like, no one wants to, like... I mean, as good as your parents can be, you still, like, have those factors that you're like, oh, I would never do this to my child because it was done to me, you know, type of deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But how is that, like, how's that grown? Like, how... Because, as a side note, her daughter is... very intelligent, like very almost independent with herself, and so I feel like, I mean, from the outside looking in, that you and you know the people who have been helping you raise her have been doing a great job, right? But like, I'm sure that there was like a learning curve because this is your first child.
Well, I mean, every day's a learning curve. I'm
totally,
sure. Like,
totally.
I will say it was difficult in the beginning because my mom didn't have a baby. She had kids that were already, like, when I was adopted, I was 2, so I already knew how to dress myself, cook food, talk, walk, everything. So it was an experience having to learn how to change the diaper and put her in the car seat right.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Did you feel like that you had to, like, be independent from, like, a very young age, or like you felt like you were, like, more mentally mature than a lot of kids that were, like, your age? Because that's what I kind of experienced being an only child, that, like, you kind of just, like, have to grow up because that's, like, you're around older kids and stuff like that, so, like, you just, like, naturally, like, want to be, like...
Or if you have parents who, like, work all the time, it's like you kind of have to raise yourself because they're like, well, we have to pay the bills.
Yeah,
you want to eat. Like...
Hashtag Matilda, great movie.
God, I love that movie so much.
Such a great movie.
Well, choky.
You literally was just about to say that.
When I was a kid, my mom was always gone because she was a lawyer. So she would have to leave and go to court in different areas and always travel. So I did, in a way, have to grow up. So I never really got a childhood, in a way, except for when I, like, hung out with my friends or something.
Or even, and you didn't really have a connection like, father figure connection.
That as well.
Yeah.
Paternal.
I don't want to get too deep, so if you don't want to answer anything, just say no. Like,
it's okay.
You're like, I'm good. Like,
I'm a pretty open person. There's some things, like, I'll keep, like, I'll be like, oh no.
Well, we keep saying that we don't want this to be heavy, but then I'm just like...
I'm trying not to, because I feel like the last few podcasts have been pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, it's kind of difficult with this book because it's just like looking
it's a heavy book.
Totally, it's a very heavy book. And I was also talking to ThatHippiePanda because your book that you are
oh my god, I cannot wait.
I can't wait to reread that book because honestly, it's a really, really good book. I don't want to say what it is yet. I don't think we've talked about what it is. But
we might have.
I feel like
what is it?
PoisonUniverse is like, okay, I'm ready for the next one.
Honestly, I'm already done.
I know, she's like, I'm done already.
Literally. Low-key, she already finished the book, but she's just saying that she just finished it.
She's laughing because it's true.
You ain't wrong.
She already have the notes down. But the next book that we're going to read, completely different author, but it ties in so much with the ego and how different people, once again, based on how their parents and the parents before that have put those control dramas on you, and how we're supposed to break free from them. And by breaking free, we realize
dramas.
Totally, honestly, that is the word of the week. The wow.
The wow.
We got a wow today, y'all.
Cute. I love that.
What about you, MooMoo? Because obviously you don't have kids.
But I mean.
But one day.
But I mean, you're also kind of like
having kids
in that situation, like a little bit, you know, like.
How, I guess, would you want to change, modify, enhance how you were raised?
Definitely not forcing my kids to hug people if they don't want to. Because I realize now I don't like hugging people. Like, I'll hug people sometimes, but like going out of my way to hug them is just because like I take in other people's energies. Like, I'm like a sponge to it, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to take those in pretty quickly. So it's like someone's like, why'd your mood change? Well, fuck, their mood's bad. The person you forced me to hug.
Yeah.
Like,
Totally.
so obviously my mood's gonna change too. So it's like, I don't want them. I'll be like, if you want to, you can, but if you don't want to. And then also too, it also coincides with like, you know, people who say they have the best intentions, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, well, this person actually is molesting children. And so it's like,
you don't like the keeping up appearances. Like, if you're really not feeling, like, don't put on a facade for anyone, even if they're like family, or like
that's one thing
you're going to a dinner and so
Melanie.
your parents like make you like dress up, or like, I don't know, whatever, like,
yeah,
or like be on your best behavior type of deal. Like, even though you're like holding shit inside, or you're like had a bad day at school or something.
I feel like I had to put up with, and then like it's so weird. Like, I don't want my kids to have to deal with this either. Is the fact that when I was in elementary school, my ideal, because of how just unhealed and how, you know, how much trauma a lot of my family members hold, is my ideal is like, if I grow up and I start making money, my family will start to like me. My dad's side of the family will actually start to like me, and my family.
And that
like,
was put
who has
on,
that thought process?
Was that
as
put
a child?
on to you though, from, you would say, your parents, like from knowing, like from
no,
like
not
seeing...
my parents. It's, I mean, obviously how they've changed, like their personality being around other people, but like how I noticed like our family members like accepted other people, and like how they changed faces so quickly when people with money were around.
And it's unfortunate because I also have seen that. I don't want to get into a scale of money, but I would definitely say that growing up, I was definitely more fortunate than you were, and like uncle, auntie, in the sense that like both of my parents, or my dad and stepmother, had like decent paying jobs, and we were able to travel a lot more, i.e. go see the family in Arizona, because a lot of our family was in Arizona in like one plot, so we were able to travel, see them, and like be able to like interact with our family more so. But I do feel that when I hate to say this, but even when my parents were around, how different the family had acted, because Scotty was here, and you know, we got to make sure that everything is okay, and like that outside is raked and like swept, and like the houses are cleaned and whatnot, when honestly, personally, I didn't care.
Honestly,
I mean,
I hate that so much.
And it's unfortunate because my mom is not like that. Obviously, you've been to my mom's house, or her old house, and it definitely was ran by kids. My mom never had anything really in her place. It was never really like a spotless house, but it was a homey house. And I definitely had, I feel, better vibes from it, even though it wasn't spotless. But growing up, it was like my parents felt that cleanliness was next to godliness, in the sense that like you need to make sure that the house is always clean, because at any given point we can have guests over and we need to make sure that they're like, you know, served well, and that we're the hostess with the mostest. Like, totally. When in reality that's just not how we were, and upholding that, it's just it was a lot of stress, definitely.
And see, like, Sam kind of proved my point, like, with his perspective on how my family was, like, on how we're kind of, like, lower to them. But that's just because of what was embedded in his mind as a kid.
Totally.
Like, he didn't realize how he said it, but to me it's like, how you said it was like we couldn't do much because of our situation financially. But no, like, we were still able to travel and do things. It's just that, like, it's just like the mindset that you guys have because of being around toxic people and family members and stuff.
Totally.
And it's like I said, you proved my point.
Yeah, no, totally. I know. And I feel like because I did put the disclaimer that, like, I don't like to put a scale of money out there or finances, but I knew by saying that, like, it would, like, more so validate MooMoo's point. Calm down, Chunky. Calm down.
Yeah, it's not like my parents didn't make money. It's just more of the fact that they weren't careful with their spending, and they just like they were good with money. And
which honestly is not a bad thing, because I'm not good with money.
It's teaching me to be better. I mean, like, obviously I'm not great now, but like, I know when I actually do have kids that they won't be struggling like I did. You know? Yeah. My family did. So.
Do you feel like that's one of the reasons why you like try to like eliminate money or like your own source of income from your life, just to like show like your family members like, hey, I can still be happy without like having the facade of like, oh, money equals happiness, you know, like, or like money equals like you feeling better about yourself or like lesser of other people type of deal.
It's like I haven't been employed for so long, and it's just like I've been fortunate to have people that help me, but like these past couple of months, like I've had money just kind of just randomly come out of random sources, and I'm just like, okay. And so it's just like, and now I know, like, with good enough energies, good enough intentions, that I'd be able to, you know, sustain myself without having to feel like I have to prove myself to anyone.
Yeah. Totally.
And that's what I want for my kids too, is that they don't feel like,
I think that's a big like hurdle that everyone goes through, is that like, you know, we feel like we are born into like an owing society where we have to grow up and constantly make a name for ourselves, but in reality the name that we already made for ourselves is already there. It's just like reconnecting with that name, which is not our physical name, but just who we are inside, like our core spirit and self. And it's super hard, I feel, because going back to control dramas and egos that our parents and their parents before them have done, because I mean, even going to like our grandparents, like they were really into making sure that their kids were stable, or that they worked hard, because that was just the thinking, going from a different country like our grandparents did, and coming to America to make money so that our or their kids and kids after that will be sustained and stable. And I mean, even thinking back in times where, like, unfortunately my dad was very against culture and wanting us to learn more about it, in the sense that he didn't want to teach us any of our language and whatnot. And it really is like he wanted to Americanize us, because he felt that as an American, honestly, you can be more profitable.
Like, I was like, why the fuck would people like actually want to like deny their own like unique culture and be like a part of this? Like,
it's hard because you're the inside looking out, in a sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely.
Our grandparents were the outside looking in, thinking that, oh, America is so much better, and how much more our kids and offspring from then on and generations will be happier if we lived there. when, I mean, honestly, it's been a struggle in America too. Spoiler alert.
Just because you change location doesn't mean anything.
Totally.
Go away.
Totally. But yeah, no, just honestly, that whole like sensation of acceptance, when in reality you could be anywhere and be fully accepted. And it's unfortunate that even I have personally come to know that like less is more, and it really holds deep that like the less possessions that you have, the happier you really are as a person.
Or can be, yeah.
Totally.
You can be happy with a lot of possessions too. It's just you have to learn like the value in what you have and how you got it.
If it still serves you, or you're just holding on to it to like preserve an old memory that you like still have. Again, like going back to chapter 2 with the lady with the ring, like you see, like, is that gonna make you less of a person if you don't have the physical like materialization of the ring?
Totally agree.
Also connecting with that, it's like it's also a generational thing, so not blaming everything on the parents. Like, I mean, obviously, like my grandparents like worked to survive type of deal, and I feel like in America right now we're moving finally into the age where like you can make money doing anything. So like you can finally
you don't have to have a degree in order to make
survive
money
anymore, and that's of course just in America. It can't speak for like any other countries,
right? Totally.
Or like the UK. Or
I'm sure Europe, it's easier in some countries, and it's way harder in some countries.
Yeah, definitely.
So
because of how the government. Oh, and then one other ideal too is that I realize is like how it's like embedded in your mind that you have to have kids at such a young age.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you how many times I'd go visit family and they'd be like, "Oh, you don't have any kids yet? Where are your kids?" And usually,
you're not married yet? Like what?
Yeah, and then I realized I finally realized the
marriage
pattern.
A lot.
Yeah.
Because they're like, "Oh, you have a kid, but no husband." I get even from strangers, and I'm just like, I chose to have my child.
Well, yeah, you and Chuck are married, right?
No.
Oh yeah, see, honestly, goals, cause like fuck that shit.
Totally.
Honestly, like,
and it's just so funny because like you mentioned that, and like the last time the last time I saw my grandmother,
oh my god,
she passed away, that was literally the first thing she said to me when I walked in with Bree, who she doesn't know, but obviously is my roommate. Is she's like, "So, like, kids?" And she's, like, looking at me and her, and I'm like, "No, Grandma." I was honestly completely oblivious to it, because, like, I had my nails painted, and, like, my face was kind of done. So, like, seeing my grandmother, that was the first time I've ever saw her with almost everything on, so that she could see who I really was. But even then, like, just, like, the whole thought process back then was that you need to have kids so that you can have a family, so that they could grow up and also make a name for themselves, so that you can hopefully be comforted in the old age, because then your kids could take care of you, and so forth type of thing. But now in today's society, that's honestly not the case. Like, so many people are big about celibacy. So many people have realized that we are killing our earth because of the overpopulation of human beings, and are working towards getting rid of that.
A lot of other shit, but we won't get into that.
But yeah, also a lot of other shit. Also, it's hard to have a child in today's society. The money that goes into that. I mean, I can't attest to it, but I'm sure you can.
One good thing about my child, though, is she does understand money in a way.
That's good. Yeah.
Like, I tell her, I'm like, "Honey, I can't get you that thing because I don't have any money at the moment. Like, maybe another time, but not right now." And she's always that kid that she'll, like, if you ask her what she wants for her birthday or Christmas, like, she'll point things out, and then she'll go back and be like, "Well, I guess I don't really need this if you can't afford it." And I'm like,
honestly, discernment. Like, I'm happy that she, from a young age. And now, is that something that you instilled in her, or?
Well, I try to teach her kind of like what life is going to be like.
Totally.
Please
because I tell her, like, you never know when I'm going to pass away. I can pass away now. I could pass away when I'm 80. Nobody knows.
Totally.
It just happens. And, I'm like, sometimes you can't get things that you want, and sometimes you need to save your money so then you can, like, if you need to get an apartment or a car, like, but I'm like, sometimes it is good to spoil yourself.
Totally.
I'm like, never forget not to, like, if, you know, like for me, I haven't done anything for myself in a really long time.
Because you almost feel guilty, huh?
Oh gosh, it's awful.
Like, why am I spending this money on myself that
when like you also have a child where you're like, I can take that money and,
so like getting my nails done.
Totally.
It's like the first
you just have to be like, okay, it's okay, you know, like I can do things for myself.
You know, and like that's one thing I have to work on.
You deserve to have those things too. You know?
And like that's one thing I have to work on because I notice Melody doesn't notice that because she's very smart. It's really hard to try to like hide things from her. She like feels the energy around and she knows. And like so, you know, so like getting my nails done, like she was like, I'm so happy you got your nails done, they look so pretty. She's like, you did something for yourself. And I was like, oh honey, I was like, I love you.
Like, I knew you were my child.
Honestly,
but then again, she's like, next time
I need to go.
She's so cute. She's like, please.
Honestly, I can say that I was on the other side of the spectrum. Like, both my parents worked and I knew that they had jobs and stuff, but me being... Okay, so my family situation is my mom is very, like, giving. She's, in the best words, a pushover, and my dad is, like, very the opposite, like, strict, like, you know, like, very reserved, very stoic type of deal. And I guess, like, being the only child, I was also very spoiled, and I didn't realize until, like, I was maybe, like, going into middle school that my parents, like, actually got paychecks and stuff, because, like, sometimes we would have, like, really good weeks, and I'd be like, oh my god, yes, I, like, get to get the new game for, like, fucking whatever. And then, like, other weeks, I'm like, they're like, no, we, like, literally can't afford to give you this. Like, and I'd, like, throw a huge fit and be like, well, why can't we just have these things? Like, obviously, like, no real concept of, like, what money is or, like, how to get it and stuff.
I will say, though, Melody has never really thrown a tantrum about anything. She's, like, born understanding.
Yeah, totally.
Which is
That's
great.
good.
Like, as a baby,
amazing.
she never cried.
Trust me, then I'd go to my grandma's house and she'd be like,
pants.
what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, and I'd be like, okay, cool, never mind. Like,
but, like, if I tell, like, if she asks for, like, a candy bar at, you know, and she sees it and we're at the store, sometimes I'll be like, I'm sorry, I can't get that right now, like, dinner is coming soon, and I was like, I only have enough money for the groceries, like, it's like $20.
Yeah.
And, you know, she was like, it's okay, next time. And I'm
Totally.
like, you're so understanding.
And I think that speaks volumes to even, like, her past lives, because she must have had, I feel, a past life where she learned that, and it probably was a very hard lesson for her to learn, or him, whatever the past life, she had, but that carried over to this life, which is great, honestly. It's like renews faith in, like, humanity almost to see the younger generation, because I've also seen a lot of kids now where they're so understanding of a lot of adult ideals or what we think are adult ideals, and even though some of them don't fully like recognize the situation or like the pattern with it, they kind of get the gist of it, which is surprising because it took me a while to understand like the essence of money and like how to earn it and like whatnot.
Me too. My mom, because like my dad's house, I would never get anything except for like a piece of paper and a pencil and a book about being fat. And my mom would give me everything.
Do people want to go into this? Because, like, oh my gosh.
Well, I'm just saying, and then my mom would give me everything. And it was like, now, as a parent, I'm like, I have to teach her that sometimes you just can't get everything that you want, as much as, like, I would love to give it to you. Money doesn't come off of trees. If it did, we would all be okay.
Trust. And even the understanding that, like, you know, one day she could have a lot of money, but even at that point,
like,
it
she
won't
told
buy
me
you happiness.
about her YouTube channel, because somebody had talked about getting money.
Did she has it, right?
Not yet, where the computer was broken, but now it's fixed, so now we're going to be able to do it. But,
oh my god, yes.
One of the people were talking about how they get paid to do YouTube channels. And Melody's like, what if I get popular enough to where I get paid? And I go, that money's yours. I go, that money's not mine. I was like, I'll put it away for you,
Totally.
But like
rainy day fund.
And then her being so sweet, she's like, well, if you ever need any money, she's like, you can take it. And I'm like, I would have to ask because it's not my money.
Totally.
Like some famous kids who've been famous from when they were children tell stories about their parents now, and they're like, I had no money growing up.
Totally. Hashtag
they're
for
like,
Brittany.
They're like, my parents took all my money and used it on themselves, and it's like, for me, I wouldn't be able to do that to my child because she earned it. So like that's hers.
Yeah.
I'll just keep hold of it so we don't go lose it somewhere.
Yeah.
Or
Totally
like,
agree.
You know, and you can't have a card because you're 9. like,
yeah, totally.
And the bank won't give you one.
I just could like unintentionally like embed in their mind that like, you know, they can be taken advantage of because it's like, okay, like, you know, as long as I'm working and they're happy, you know, they won't realize that like, hey, my money's being taken and I'm being taken advantage of, and like it could like open a whole new can of worms. So the fact that you're telling her like this is your money that you earned, like that's like
I told her like if I can't pay rent or something, I might need a but I'll ask you and I'll tell you how much is
like you want the utility bill?
like you want lights?
The Wi-Fi bill?
Literally.
Cell phone bill? Insurance?
You want to upload that video? We need to pay for that spectrum.
Yeah.
I just love how like you have like a really like honest relationship, you know. You feel like you don't feel like not really blindsiding, but just like I just feel like a common trend with like most of our families is that like, oh, you know, we just have things that like we don't talk about, or like even with like death, like death was like a really big thing for a long time. Like we never really like talked about my grandfather dying or like how that affected like any of us, because it was like, I mean, everyone knew it was coming, but like it was still like so sudden that everyone's like obviously brokenhearted and shit like that. But
and it's how to like, I feel like wrap your head around the situation.
Or like how to healthily like deal with those situations instead of just like looking up to your parents,
especially
or
when
however,
like your parents haven't worked through it. So
exactly.
Well, we don't know what to do. So then they do what they know best, and that's
like
just
that's
to be
one
quiet
thing I've
about
always
it,
wanted with having a child, if I ever did, is having an open and honest relationship with them.
Totally.
Because with my mom, I was so quiet. Like I didn't even tell her I was pregnant. I actually had to have my teacher tell her because I.
Oh my gosh! Because when did you get pregnant?
I was 18.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shoot, that's
just turned 18 too. So.
Yeah, you're still in school at this point, or.
Like I graduated and then a couple months later I had her, which is amazing. I know now how long I've been out of school because it's based on her birthday.
That's so
totally. So I'm like, she's 9, so I've been out of school for 9 years.
Dang, almost 10 years.
That's crazy to think about because we're the same age, girl. So fuck, she's also our timestamp.
And it's also
you
just
have a different perspective of time than I do. I feel fortunate to be like 30 or almost 30. Like I'm okay with it. You're the one that's not okay with it.
It's not that I'm not okay with it. It's just that
you know, that's though. It's like we're both 30. I'm like I'm okay with it though. Like,
it's just the fact that growing up, I like had like a set of ideals that I wanted to like hit before certain ages, and obviously every single age that has been preceding
you have those unrealistic goals for yourself that you're like,
but they're not even unrealistic because. And I don't mean to think about other people.
Well, I just mean you're shooting for the stars when really you should be like taking it like one step at a time. Like,
I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are further along in their path than I am. That are my age. That we've had the same education.
That are younger than me, if that. Like,
totally, but like even like my graduating class, it's hard for me to look at like them and to see that you know they're running companies, or you know they just put a down payment on a home, or you know even that they're getting married or whatever. Right, and I understand that, but at the same time, some of them could be happy or happier than I am because they've hit their goals in their life, type of thing. So like every year that passes is like 1 year me further away from my goals in a sense. And it's me changing that perspective. That is the hard thing, because
True.
I am, we're constantly aging. That's just how life and, biology works. But at the same point...
It's one of the only guarantees in life. Like,
that you're going to get old and you're going to die one day.
It is what it is.
It's unfortunate. But, I feel like going through my spiritual process... Obviously, I wouldn't change anything in my past at all. I would relive it and probably do, if not the same. But... me learning the life lessons that I've learned have made me happier. But at the same time, I still have like that innerness of me that's like, you should already be doing this, and you should already, be on this path. And you had the means and you had the tools to do it. It's just that I chose not to use them to the full extent.
And there was a reason for that, because maybe
obviously, because now I'm doing this, and honestly, like I said, I wouldn't change anything in the world of my past, because it's made me who I am today, and I'm happy where I am. It's just that every year that goes by, it's like, whew.
Girl, trust. Once I hit 25, I'm gonna be like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Like, even when I turned 23, I was like, what am I doing?
Honestly, 22 was a hard year for me, because 22 was the year that, like, I would see all of the graduation photos of my classmates graduating college, and I'm just like, well, I'm still over here just working.
Yeah, totally. 9 to 5.
I was like...
4 years.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Totally. And, like, not... Obviously, some of them go into, like, graduate and, like, whatnot, but, like, most people... go for the 4 years, and then they graduate and they start their life, and yeah, totally.
I also feel like that ties back into like starting a family. Like everyone, like I see like on Facebook or like social media a whole bunch like everyone's starting their lives, like putting down payments on houses, buying new cars and stuff. And
totally.
Like
it's so funny because for me, I'm like I'm just here enjoying my life with my child. I don't know. Like I'm like at this moment, I do have a goal, or Chuck and I have a goal. Mystery man.
Mystery man.
He's not here.
He's not. He's at work.
We have a goal to get our own car and hopefully like an apartment or a little townhouse, so then we can